Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depend on wherever you're watching me from. Uh, though it's been a while, I've been on the channel to really talk about the current situation of Nigeria and what has been going on. So I just see this that I believe we need to talk about it, and this about the side which the Nigeria government is taking about insecurity in Nigeria, and the level of religious biasness and tribal sentiment, and the level of injustice and impunity in Nigeria. Because uh, I'm saying this because it looks like Nigeria don't really get what is really going on the about the movement of our Nigerian president, especially the trip he made to Turkey just on recent. What is it about? What do we have to gain from it? What is the benefit that are going to bring to Nigeria as a whole, not as one side of the country or not as a particular religion? You see that because people talking about, because the news on everywhere that people really talking about is how our president fell, while he was in Turkey. You know, though this can happen to anyone. It happened to former president of America, Biden, because of the old age or whatever. And that is why we need to let the young, generation let them come to power, because this kind of a disgrace, really. But that should not be where we're supposed to be focusing our attention on. We need to focus our attention about the aim and objective of our president of our federal government going to Turkey. What do they went there for? You guys will remember that Gumi talked about not allowed America to be the source of help in combating the insecurity in Nigeria, because the help will come from an holy hand, holy country, as he said. And what it really means is based on religion, sentiment, or beliefs. That to me, that belief it doesn't make any sense. Because as I said that in my former video, that who knows what religion God practice. And moreover, it's only, a stupid man or woman that will believe that, God is religion. God can never be a religious person, being, or deity, never. So if God is a religious or deity or being, it means God himself is biased, because he created everybody according to our belief. So, and everybody that he created does not belong to the same religion. So, and some doesn't even believe in any religion. So, and I know God cannot be biased. God cannot be stupid, like people that think that this particular religion belongs to God. Because if that happened, it means that religion should be the only religion, only people that are under that religion should be only one benefiting from the natural thing that come from God. So every other one supposed not to benefit from it. So why are we deceiving ourselves? So my point is that Gumi said Nigeria should seek help from Iran, Turkey, and some other Muslim country. And Nigeria should not forget. We are dealing with militant the terrorists that believe in Islamic religion, that believe Western education is haram, that believe anyone that does not belong to their religion, did not deserve to live. And somebody that's supposed to even be in prison was advising our government that this is where they need to seek the help from. And Gumi said this thing December 26th. That was after the bombing of Sokoto area from America. On 26th of January, our president went to Turkey to sign an agreement about the security of Nigeria with Turkey, a Muslim country.
Republic of Turkey, Minister of National Defense, Yasar Gila, on behalf of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Minister of Defense Christopher Gwabi Musa, will be exchanging agreement on defense cooperation between the government of the Republic of Nigeria and that of Turkey.
Yedinci anlaşma. Türkiye Cumhuriyeti adına Milli Eğitim.
And there was an allegation that people prove it to be right, that Turkey was one of the people behind the Boko Haram sponsoring Nigeria.
Television news program says that Turkey is clearly a terrorist state with a broad reach. It reports that Turkey is supplying weapons to the terrorist group Boko Haram in Nigeria. 10 TV host Nishat Al-Delhi reported on a leak confirming an intercepted phone call from a few years back confirming the action. He reported in part, today's leak confirms without a doubt that Erdogan, his state, his government, and his party are transferring weapons from Turkey to, this is a shock, to where you may ask, to Nigeria, and to whom? To the Boko Haram organization. Well, Raymond Ibrahim, a journalism fellow at the David Horowitz Freedom Center and an expert on the Middle East and Islam, joins us now with more on this. Welcome, Raymond.
Hello, Heather.
Are you surprised by this report? What's your take on it?
No, I'm not surprised. And my take on it is that the actual tape that was made that you referenced and you quoted was made apparently in 2014 or 15. And it was reported widely in certain areas in the U.S. and in the West, not so much, and not much came out of it. And the reason, I think, is because Erdogan wasn't didn't have his fingers so much in Islamist politics outside of his own nation. But now that we've seen, Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the ISIS Islamic State caliph who was killed recently, and he was found just 3 miles from the Turkish border, which is in fact one of the last, or if not the last bastion of jihadi so-called freedom fighters of attacking the Syrian government. It's brought it up again, the fact that everyone is saying, well, look, he's supporting ISIS. So now we're remembering, and that was, I think, the point of the Egyptian show. We're bringing back to see that there's some continuity here. It's not just right next door to Syria, to Turkey, meaning Syria. He's involved with some of the absolute worst Islamic terror groups. Remember, Boko Haram, which its name loosely means Western education is forbidden, haram. Was basically doing what ISIS is notorious for years before ISIS. So the whole, head chopping, crucifying, massacres, enslaving women and children, burning people alive. Boko Haram was doing that. And one of the things that international observers have been noticing, especially increasingly, is that their armaments, their weapons, are very sophisticated. And it's even spilled into the Fulani tribesmen in Nigeria and in other parts in Africa. For example, I'm sure you know, Burkina Faso, also in Western Africa, attacks on Christians have become horrific. Just in the last few months, there have been so many killed, and always in the context of checking out if they're wearing crosses, if they can say the Islamic Creed or not, and then being butchered and so forth. And those tribesmen, the Fulani, who are essentially living almost on a primitive scale, appear with very advanced weaponry.
Well, that's really interesting, which would kind of seem to perhaps give more weight to this idea that perhaps Turkey is collaborating with Boko Haram. What would the benefit be to Turkey of collaborating with Boko Haram?
Well, there's several theories. One is Erdogan basically is an ardent Islamist, and he is supporting and behind any Islamist movement in any country. He's the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. He was allied with Qatar of Al Jazeera as his ally. And so you can see him, he's trying to help develop these Islamist groups so they can overthrow more secular states. Though, in fact, in Nigeria, an aside that I think is important, the president himself, Muhammad Buhari, of Nigeria, who's Muslim, Nigeria is half Christian, half Muslim, has been accused himself of being behind the so-called genocide, which a lot of international groups have called what's happening to Christians in Nigeria, that he himself is complicit in this armament. So he could very well be an ally of Erdogan and so forth, and it's just some sort of Islamist overall coalition globally.
I want to ask you, the President Trump, of course, met with the President of Turkey yesterday. Do you think he's aware of these kind of ties to terrorism? And what are your thoughts on that meeting yesterday?
Well, in general, I think, what he's aware of is really hard to tell. But I think the meeting in general, Trump and presidents won't necessarily bring up all these things, obviously. So when he met, for example, in Saudi Arabia with the king and so forth, he doesn't really mention human rights abuses and so forth for whatever strategic tactical reasons. So it's really hard to predict, but I think he needs to be aware because Erdogan is really, he's got his fingerprints everywhere now. It's not just Syria, which is very obvious, but now there's older evidence of him involved in Nigeria and also in Turkey itself, the Christian population, the minority there. And remember, Turkey was originally entirely Christian. It was Anatolia. It was actually where St. Paul wrote all his epistles to. They're really being treated badly and discriminated against, and a lot of hate preaching in Turkey is increasingly against Christians and Jews. Definitely Turkey's going down the wrong path with Erdogan.
Giving them weapon. The same Turkey. That is where our president went to seek for help to combat the security situation in Nigeria. And Nigeria still never gets this thing that is playing between our government and one side of the country and one side of the religion. So it's very worrisome. It's something that Nigeria need to sit down and really think about this. What is really going on? Gumi says something, and our president, our federal government acted upon what he said. We need to think. We need to, shift our attention to what really matters, not all these frivolous things that is happening in Nigeria. That people really pay, spend so much of their time on it, whereby our country is going deep down the drain every day by day. So we need to reason on this. I'm not trying to sound, as a religious bigotry or whatever, but everybody knows that the Islamic religion they are very intolerant when it comes to religion. Which God told you that this is his religion? Which God told you that you're superior than every other creature? One thing I believe about God is God of love and peace. Even me as a Yoruba man, our traditional ways and culture and our tradition teach us love, accommodating each other, regardless of whatever, where we come from, or what we believe in. So while our government will go to Turkey, and we should remember, Turkey was once a Christian nation, but they were being conquered by Muslims. This is not about, preaching to them. When you preach to some people about what you believe and they accept you with good faith, like in Nigeria, in my tribe, when the Muslim came to Yoruba and Christian, they accept it with good faith, even for the fact that there are some lies, they lies to them about the religion then, but they accept it. Though now they are using the same religion to conquer Yoruba land now. It's really going on. Where, our president went to Turkey and signed an agreement. And we only heard about the security part, the side of it. Maybe there's other thing they signed. Who knows? But remember, Nigeria, the common man will be at the receiving end. The elite, they will find their ways around it, whatever that happens. They will surely find their ways around it. So the common man of Nigeria will need to wake up, regardless of our tribe, religious, or whatever. We need to wake up. We need to wake up. And why I said that, okay, even in Yoruba land, they want to use this same religion to conquer us. You will see that a particular candidate now, what is this man name? Professor, whatever, I forgot the name now. But possibly I will put this video for you guys to watch. Why he was talking about the Sharia law that, okay, he's going to implement it if he become governor of Oyo State.
We have no problem with that, but being a good Muslim does not mean you must turn the government house into a religious court. Look at Governor Makinde. He is a Christian who still builds mosques. That is what we call true leadership. It is terrifying that she too is talking about Sharia panels and defending...
Let me ask you pointedly, sir. Yes. Would you introduce Sharia if you become governor of your state?
Well, if the people ask for it, let me tell you, even the Constitution says it should be established wherever... Let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
How does Sharia, if it is institutionalized, how does it affect you, a Christian?
The question I'm putting to you is that what has been the fallout of the introduction of Sharia in the northern part of Nigeria? Sir, Christians have been, discriminated against. They can't get lands for churches. They are being killed. They are being taken to Sharia courts.
Who is killed?
Sir,
the Constitution.
the next item after
religion.
Sir, the next item after introduction of Sharia legal jurisprudence is to set up the Hizbah police that says you can't drink. So here's the deal, sir. Suddenly, some Yoruba leaders of the Islamic faith rose up and said, we want Sharia, some elements of Sharia legal jurisprudence to be incorporated into our, secular legal. And I was stunned when I actually saw you amongst them.
Yes.
Because you are a leading Islamic figure.
Thank God.
Why do you think Sharia is the...
Let me ask you.
Yes, sir.
How does Sharia, if it is institutionalized, how does it affect you, a Christian?
It affects me because of what I see happening in other parts of Nigeria.
Are there not Christians in Kano, in Maiduguri?
And, sir, even though I'm the one asking the question, the question I'm putting to you is that what has been the fallout of the introduction of Sharia in the northern part of Nigeria?
How does it affect you negatively? That's the question. How does it affect Christians in those?
You can't go to parties. You can't do this.
Intolerance for
really?
Yes, you are very intolerant.
With the evidence.
There's no evidence anywhere.
From the north?
There's no evidence anywhere. We are operating the same 1999 Constitution as amended.
Let me ask you pointedly, sir.
Yes.
Would you introduce Sharia if you become governor of your state?
Well, if the people ask for it, let me tell you, even the Constitution says it should be established wherever it is demanded.
So it's open. You may introduce
It is
Sharia.
open because the Constitution allows it. I don't run away from battles.
The Obafemi Awolowo that you and I are students of his ideology.
Yes.
Did he profess in any way?
Let me tell you, it was Obafemi Awolowo who introduced Pilgrims Welfare Board. Not even a Christian,
No, that's not introducing Sharia.
It is part of Sharia. It is part of Sharia. I mean, a lot of people oppose Sharia, people like you, out of intolerance.
No,
That is the truth.
That's not correct, sir.
Let me tell you.
But the question they need to ask him, can he break it down word and word is in the Sharia law? Can he tell us what help as Sharia law? What help as Sharia law ever brought to the northern part of Nigeria? What help? What development is Sharia, because they've been practicing Sharia law in the northern part of Nigeria, and their side, their part of the country still be like what it is today. Intolerance everywhere, intimidation everywhere, the religion intolerance everywhere in the northern part of Nigeria. And you guys want to bring the same thing to the Yoruba land, the most peaceful place in Nigeria. So Yoruba people also should, should really prepare themselves. Because even you as a Muslim, that you believe, oh, because this is coming from your religion, if you believe it's going to help you, ask yourself, what have they gained from me from the northern part of Nigeria? So I'm talking about within Nigeria now. So talk of, see what is happening in Iran now. Even the Iranians are the one clamoring that they are tired of the Islamic rules in their country. Afghanistan are saying they are tired of Islamic rules in their country, and you want to bring the same thing to your own land. Even Saudi Arabia, that Islamic religion originated from there, they are getting away gradually from the ideologies of Muhammad, because Prince of Saudi Arabia said it, that by 2030 they want to get rid of most of the ideology of Muhammad. That is why you see so many different things coming to Saudi Arabia these days. Saudi Arabia didn't welcome anything sport before. Now, most of the sports now being aired in Saudi Arabia. Boxing, UFC, all that, music. They don't entertain that in Saudi Arabia before. So, don't let us be enslaved ourselves with religion. Don't let us be brainwashed with religion. When Israel is fighting about how many countries together now, do they use the Bible? No. No, they may be praying. Some people might be praying somewhere, but they face the battle, the war, with the modern technology. They didn't face it with the word of God. They didn't face it with the Bible. They didn't face it with their faith in whatever they believe. And also Saudi Arabia, the Kaaba that people are went to for pilgrimage. Go and do your finding. America are the one guiding the Kaaba. American soldiers. If you don't know, go and Google search it. But this Gumi said America is holy land, on holy land, that this Nigeria should not seek help from them. But the same America are the one Saudi Arabia seeking help on security of the Kaaba from. Let's put it in a high queue. Let's reason the level of stupidity that we are putting ourselves in Nigeria because of religion. Let's put it here. Prince of Saudi went to America, to talk about the business relation with America, that the money they invested before they're going to increase it to $1 trillion. How many times Saudi Arabia ever brought any company or whatever, or anything that's going to benefit the public to Africa? The only thing they can do is to bring mosque. The same thing they did to Burkina Faso president, which I love the guy very much. He rejected it. Bring it 200 mosque. Is that what people want? Why they don't bring the mosque to America? Why they don't preach the mosque to President Trump that, oh, they want to bring more mosque to America and see maybe it's going to work. But when they come to Africa, they bring mosque. Let them even bring a company, a business empire to Nigeria. Let them even make it official that is going to be beneficiary to Muslim alone. Let us see how it's going to work. Then we will see. Maybe that will encourage some other Christian this thing to bring the same thing, and that will bring the development to our country. But instead of that, they put religion stupidity on our head. They put religion biasness on our head. But whereby their own country, they are prospering every day. They are prospering every day. People going to Saudi Arabia for pilgrimage every year, spending millions, enriching their own country. Who told you that you cannot pray to God anywhere, any moment, any seconds, any hours, wherever you are, without going anywhere, and God will not listen to you? He will surely do. So let's get away from our stupidity. Let's work towards the development of our nation. Let's put religion aside. Let's put tribal aside. And this make me go to what Professor Olusola Adeyeye said some years back about the constitution that we are using in Nigeria that can never give up peace, because that constitution only gave much right to some side of the country and to the elite, not to the masses, not to the citizen. Because this constitution we are operating was, arranged by the military regime, turning it to be a constitution today. And constitution is supposed to be something of that the collective of the citizen, the group of people from each tribe, from each region, supposed to come together and, and decide this is what they want. But in the case of Nigeria, our constitution, the decree that changed to constitution, was arranged by just few set of people and imposed it on us. And we believe that's a constitution. And that is why we are still crawling till today. And as
I dare to tell this nation today that this is the problem. This constitution can never give us progress. This constitution can never give us peace. This constitution can never give us unity. And unfortunately, most of us in this National Assembly, we don't have the spine to face what we need to give this republic to have peace and progress. What do I mean? This constitution has 68 items. 68 on the exclusive list. This constitution has only 12 on the concurrent list. And those 12 are written so nebulously, so fraudulently, that you know that the intention is to even undermine those concurrent lists. That is why those who want unity and peace in Nigeria must first remember that the name of our republic is not just Nigeria. The formal name of this republic is Federal Republic of Nigeria. Unfortunately, we don't run a federalist system in Nigeria. Otherwise, what is so unique about all those things that are in the exclusive list? We used to have a parliamentary system. And then we wanted unity, we wanted peace, we wanted progress, and we therefore said we are going to go with a presidential system. Honestly, there are many presidential systems in the world that have peace and progress. I can't quarrel with that. But we must put in place the same safeguards that presidential system across the world put in place so that you can have what it needs to run the society.
Professor Adeyeye said in it that that constitution can never give us peace. That constitution can never give us progress. That constitution can never move us forward unless we do something about it. Thank you as you are watching. But make sure, I'm not saying you follow all what I said, but you also sit down and think which way forward Nigerian. God bless you as you watch. God bless Nigeria. God bless every one of us. Thank you.